Let us now calculate the total salary of marketing employees. In this case, we will use SUMIF function. So the way it is written is again equal to SUMIF. Total only when it meets a certain criteria. So let's look at the syntax a bit closely. Here it talks about the range, what is the criteria, and what is the sum range. So if you remember, range and criteria are essentially the same which we used for COUNTIF. So let's take range as the same range which we were talking about in criteria. I mean the COUNTIF. What is the criteria? The criteria is that it should meet marketing. And what is the sum range? The sum range essentially is to sum total the annual salary of marketing guys. So this is your overall formula, and we close the bracket and we press enter. So what we find here is that corresponding to marketing, it's 30,000 that gets added. Corresponding to IT, that is 50,400, that doesn't get added. So that's how it works. It automatically identifies the corresponding entries and sum total. So let's quickly verify if this number is actually correct by doing manual calculations. So this is marketing G22 plus G20 plus marketing G16, G15, then on the top we have G8, G7 and G4. So what's the sum total? The sum total essentially is the same. So SUMIF is working perfectly fine. Now let us calculate the total number of employees and total salary for other departments like IT, finance and support. For this, we wish to use the same formulas, which is COUNTIF, the full range and the criteria. Now note that if we are wanting to copy this formula from marketing to, let's say, the next cell, which is cell D31, what happens is that this criteria C31 is correctly identified because we want to select only IT professionals. But look at this range. What has happened to the range? The earlier range started from D4 and it went till D22. However, now the updated range, because we have shifted from row number 30 to row number 31, it is now a bit different. Now if you look at the highlights here, you may be able to observe this full range. This is not the range which we were kind of talking about. The range should start from D4 and it should continue till D22. So what can we do in this case? So in order to make our formulas kind of compatible with the other set of copy and paste, what we need to do here is a small correction. The small correction would mean we need to use absolute references, which we have learned in our earlier video. So how we can make use of absolute references? We want this range to freeze and not move as we move the formulas from marketing to IT. So what we can do is we can insert $ before D, we can insert $ before 4, we can also insert $ before D again, and $ before 22. So that's how we have now kind of freezed this range, so it will not move. Let's try if this is kind of moving or is stationary. Now let's look at the updated formula. In this case, as you can see, the range is now stationary and it is not moving. So the formula is working correctly. So let's complete the whole set of calculations here in case of finance and support. So what we see is that there are 4 employees in finance, 4 in support, 4 in IT and 7 in marketing. So let's apply the same kind of terminologies and formulas in SUMIF. We wish to copy and paste this formula so that we don't have to do retyping all again. So there are 2 ranges. There's one which is the initial set of range. The second one is the sum range. So what we must do is to freeze this range. Now I'm going to teach you a shortcut in order to insert the $. So the shortcut is basically available in the function key, that is F4. So on the top you'll find there's a command F4, and in order to insert a dollar sign between, let's say, D4, just select your cursor in between D4 and press F4 from the function key. So what will happen is it inserts dollar signs before D and before 4 automatically. Likewise, if I have to do it before D22, I'll press F4. Likewise before G4 and G22. Remember that I don't want this C30, which is pointing to marketing, to be an absolute reference, because I want this to be moving reference. So this is a normal reference in our case. So what we'll do is now just copy this formula and paste it across. So we can see that in our case it is working perfectly. So if you see support, the total salary that is basically taken is in cell G33. Now let's say if we want to actually do another set of calculations, total number of employees who are male and total salary, it's again a quick revision. Let's do it. Count if, and this time I don't want to count the departments, but I would like to count the gender. So gender range would be from E4 to E22, and the criteria is male, and bracket close. So what we have is there are 11 employees who are males, and if I want to copy and paste the formula, say again in this female cell, I must have a dollar sign in between E4 and E22. And I'll press F4 as a shortcut and F4 again as a shortcut for E22, and I can copy this formula and paste it again. So there are 8 female employees and 11 male employees. Likewise, let's do a quick sum total of the total salary. So here I will use this function SUMIF. What is the range? The range here on which the criteria needs to be employed is E4 and E22. What is the criteria? The criteria is those belonging to male. And what is the sum range? The sum range is the range of total annual salary. So this is what we take and close the bracket and enter. So the salary essentially taken by male employees is given in cell G35. Likewise, if I have to copy and paste this formula here, I'll be using F4 again, so relatively quickly this time. F4, 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 G22, and copy this and paste it across in female. So this is how we can work along with SUMIF and COUNTIF functions.